In the gritty high-stakes world of outlaw motorcycle clubs, few names have stirred up as much mystery and fame as Brett Peachey. From the streets of Queensland, he rose to become one of Australia's most intimidating biker enforcers. His life sounds like something straight out of a movie. Brett was once the Sergeant-at-Arms of the Bandidos, a club with over 2,200 members across 22 countries, and his intense journey led him to flee to Thailand, becoming Queensland's most wanted man along the way. His story is packed with power plays, violence, and unexpected twists. Brett's big moment in the spotlight came during the infamous 2013 Broadbeach Brawl, which led to a 15-month exile and a surprising claim of religious conversion. But his tale didn't end there. Over the years, Brett spent time with 3 major biker gangs, including the notorious Rock Machine, and built up a long rap sheet with charges like assault and even threats against the police. His life is a roller coaster that captures the chaotic and dangerous world of outlaw bikers. Now, with Brett back behind bars facing fresh charges, everyone's wondering, is this the end of the road for him, or just another wild twist in his ongoing story? Brett Peachey's dive into the world of outlaw motorcycle gangs started in Queensland, his home turf. As a young man, barely out of his teens, he felt the pull of motorcycles, freedom, and the tight brotherhood offered by the Bandidos Motorcycle Club. But this wasn't just any club. The Bandidos, with their bold red and gold colors, were a force. The second largest motorcycle club in the world, with over 2,500 members spread across 22 countries and 303 chapters. Only the notorious Hells Angels had them beat in size and reputation. Brett's climb up the Bandidos ranks was fast. His toughness, fierce loyalty, and readiness to defend the club got him noticed by the higher-ups. Before long, Brett held the title of Sergeant-at-Arms for Queensland's West End chapter. This was a major role. As Sergeant-at-Arms, he was the enforcer, the one who made sure the club's rules were followed, often by force if needed. His reputation for a brutal kind of justice soon spread, and he became one of the most feared figures in the state. His nickname, Cows, spelled with a K, wasn't just a random label. It fit the chaos that seemed to surround him.
Chaos, as he's known, that's with a K for the love of God, drove his BMW into the garage of the house and then abused his terrified former partner, who was ringing the cops as she ran away.
What led Brett to choose this path filled with crime and violence? Was it the rush of power, the strong sense of belonging, or perhaps something more complicated and buried in his past? The Bandidos, like many outlaw motorcycle clubs, followed a strict hierarchy and set of rules. Members were expected to join in group rides and stay quiet about any club business, especially when it came to the police. For Brett, these were the rules of his world. The Bandidos became Brett Peachey's whole world, a new family, a place to belong, and an outlet for his anger. As he gained more influence in the club, the risks grew too. Rival gangs and law enforcement began to notice his fast rise through the Bandidos' ranks. Brett's time with the club was filled with violent encounters, each one making him seem even tougher and more intimidating. But one event in particular would change his life forever and make him infamous nationwide. That moment came during the notorious Broadbeach Brawl. It was 2013, and what began as a regular day on the Gold Coast quickly turned into one of Australia's most shocking biker brawls. On the crowded streets of Broadbeach, Brett Peachey, the fierce sergeant-at-arms of the Bandidos, led his club into a full-on clash with their bitter rivals, the Finks. This wasn't just any fight. It exploded into a street riot, terrifying locals and tourists alike. Right at the center of the chaos was Brett, his intense presence impossible to miss amid the leather-clad bikers. The scene was brutal, and it sent a powerful message about the harsh reality of biker gang warfare, shaking the whole country. Adding to his controversial story, Brett found a haven in Western Australia, known for having a softer legal stance compared to the eastern states. This reputation for leniency helped Brett avoid jail time, even after a violent attack on a former partner at what had once been their family home. In the aftermath of the Broadbeach Brawl, police went on a mission to round up everyone involved. Brett suddenly found himself in a tough spot, now branded as Queensland's most wanted man. With law enforcement hot on his trail, he made a surprising choice for someone known for never backing down. Brett Peachey's escape led him to Thailand, which became his hideaway for the next 15 months. During this self-imposed exile, rumors started swirling about a big change in him. When he returned to Australia in 2015, he seemed different. Or at least he looked it. The familiar Bandidos colors he used to wear were gone, replaced by fresh tattoos on his legs, spelling out B4L, short for Brothers for Life, a Middle Eastern gang known for its own intense reputation. Brett even claimed he had converted to Islam, talking about a new life focused on peace, loyalty, respect, and honesty. This supposed transformation left people wondering, was it a real change, a true spiritual shift sparked by his time on the run? Or was it just a way to shake off his Bandidos past and avoid the trouble that came with it? Law enforcement didn't seem too convinced. Despite his talk of a fresh start, by 2017, Brett was spotted in Western Australia, and police suspected he was recruiting members for a new Brothers for Life chapter in Perth.
In 2017, Peche was spotted in Western Australia, where police believed he was recruiting members for a new Perth chapter of Brothers for Life.
It looked like the draw of the outlaw life was still there for him. But just when it seemed Brett Peche's story couldn't get any more dramatic, 2023 arrived with yet another twist. Another twist unfolded in Brett Peche's life as he reappeared, now linked with another infamous outlaw motorcycle gang, the Rock Machine. This wasn't just any biker club.
And with a history steeped in violence, they had gained international notoriety in the 1990s, during a bloody war with the Hells Angels in Canada.
The Rock Machine had earned a fearsome reputation back in the 1990s, during a violent, years-long war with the Hells Angels in Canada. With shootings and bombings, the conflict claimed dozens of lives and established the Rock Machine as one of the most dangerous biker gangs worldwide. Not surprisingly, Brett didn't just join the Rock Machine, he quickly took on the role of Sergeant-at-Arms, becoming the enforcer once again, a position he had mastered with the Bandidos. Embracing his new allegiance, he even took to social media to display his connection to the gang, posting bold photos, including one where he aimed a pistol directly at the camera. It was his way of declaring his return to the biker underworld, loud and clear. But his bold comeback took a hit soon after. Just weeks into his high-profile role with the Rock Machine, a video surfaced that would seriously shake up his reputation. In the footage, Brett, once known for standing his ground, was seen running away from a confrontation with members of the rival Mongols Motorcycle Club at a Perth shopping center. For a man who had built a name on facing threats head-on, the sight of him fleeing was a shock to everyone who had followed his story. This moment of vulnerability wasn't lost on his enemies. The Rock Machine, a gang that prided itself on strength and facing down rivals, quickly began to distance itself from Brett.
Club at a shopping center in Perth. The incident was a far cry from the tough guy image Peche had cultivated over the years. For a man who had built his reputation on standing his ground and facing down any threat, the sight of him fleeing from a confrontation was shocking. It was a moment of vulnerability that his enemies were quick to exploit, and one that would have severe consequences for his standing in the outlaw.
In the outlaw biker world, this was a major blow, and it marked yet another twist in Brett Peche's unpredictable, high-stakes journey. Brett Peche's journey hit an all-time low when he was abruptly expelled from the Rock Machine. Just like that, a man who had once held significant power in the biker underworld found himself cast out and alone, a biker without a club, a leader without a following. In the rough world of outlaw motorcycle gangs, everyone had the same question. What would Brett "Cows" Peche do next? As his reputation crumbled, Peche's troubles with the law only deepened. In 2020, his luck ran out, and he was sentenced to 12 months in jail after a chaotic 2-day drug-fueled spree, during which he threatened to kill police officers. It was a harsh downfall for someone who once inspired both fear and respect. Videos from this incident captured Peche's erratic behavior, where he pretended to hold a rifle, muttering, "I'm not here to hurt anyone. If I was, you wouldn't know about it." These recordings painted a picture of a volatile man at a breaking point. But his run-ins with the law didn't stop there. Shortly after his release in 2021, he was arrested again, this time facing even more serious charges: trespassing, assault, criminal damage, and making threats. This disturbing incident involved Peche crashing his BMW into the garage door of his ex-partner's house, where she and their children were living. His lawyer argued that Peche was dealing with mental health challenges, including struggles to retrieve his schizophrenia medication, suggesting that his aggressive behavior was tied to these personal issues. While this defense brought some sympathy, it also raised new concerns about Peachy's stability and the potential threat he posed to those around him. The court placed Brett Peachy on a 10-month intensive supervision order aimed at helping him tackle his mental health and anger issues. But even with this intervention, doubts lingered about whether it would be enough to keep the infamous biker on a steady path. In early 2024, Peachy's legal troubles took another turn when he faced fresh charges, including breaching a family violence restraining order, reckless driving, driving without a license, and failing to stop during an aggravated police chase in Maroochydore. The incident, which allegedly involved a high-speed pursuit, seemed to indicate that Peachy was struggling to follow the law despite court-ordered efforts. While in custody for these charges, Peachy admitted to driving under the influence of methamphetamine, resulting in a $1,250 fine and a 6-month driving disqualification that would begin once he's released from jail. Brett Cowes. Peachy's life has been full of contradictions. The outlaw who once pursued peace as a convert to Islam with Brothers for Life, then the cast-out biker of the rock machine, now facing the heavy hand of the law. These contrasts show the complexity of Peachy's character, a man who, on paper, earns just $200 a week as a concreter, but carries a criminal record that tells a different story, one marked by struggle, violence, and choices that keep pulling him back into the shadows. Peachy's journey brings up big questions about redemption and change. Can someone with such a turbulent past truly leave it all behind? Or does the call of the outlaw life stay too strong, making true change nearly impossible? The answers may only come with time, and if he ever gains freedom again, the world will watch to see if he takes a different path. For now, Brett Peachy remains both a cautionary tale and a source of fascination. His story sheds light on the dangers of the outlaw biker lifestyle, while touching on deeper issues like mental health, addiction, and the difficulty of reintegrating into society after years of living on the edge. As Australia watches the next chapter of Brett Peachy's life unfold, one thing is clear: his saga isn't over yet. Whether he emerges as a changed man or continues down the path of chaos, his story will captivate and intrigue for years to come.